Fear the Walking Dead Season 3 premiere, Eye of the Beholder, and the New Frontier. Of course, before I get into this review, I would like to apologize for this thing coming out a couple days late. I did end up watching the episode on Sunday night. I didn't end up getting to review it until today because yesterday I basically spent all day. I didn't do a single thing for my channel because I spent all day basically comparing tire prices, because one of my tires blew out and then I realized the other tire was about to blow out, so it was like all day yesterday was spent doing that. And Monday I just didn't get the chance to do it, and I didn't even get off work because of the tire going flat. I didn't get off work until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was super freaking tired. So whole tire deal is the reason this is like 2 days late. So, or I guess it's 3 days late now because technically it's Wednesday. But getting into the actual review for this episode, it was pretty awesome. Suffice it to say, they're starting off really strong. We had two really good episodes. The first part was like super intense. The second episode had some intense moments, specifically the beginning, which I'll definitely be talking about. But just starting off from the beginning of this episode with our characters actually coming back together after being split up for such a long time in the last season, it was actually pretty cool. At least with Nick, returning, because there were quite a few different splits in the last season, and then towards the end of the last season, a lot of characters regrouped when they ended up at the hotel. So now we've had like our official family regrouping. So I thought that was pretty cool. And once again, it's whether it's The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead, there are some random people who are the problem, far worse than any zombies could be, because their idea is to, as military people, and it was really weird. I was trying to figure out exactly what was happening, because all these people, they're dressed in, military gear and stuff like that, which I assume they just took, but they certainly seem to be actual military personnel. But the main guy who, the Eye of the Beholder, who almost had his eye popped out, he's the son of the dude we meet in the second episode. So I'm like, did he meet those people at the camp, or were all of those people a part of this thing? Because that's the way they kind of made it seem, was like all of these people were from, his dad's camp, and then like, they also seem like they're all 100% military people, which could still be the case. They could have just happened to live in the area, and then, things went crazy and they're all military. But it was just crazy, because I'm like, that's just nuts in general. And it seemed like they kind of went out there, like some of them seemed like they were military, and then people like the son, he seemed like he kind of just wore military clothing. He wasn't like actually in the military. He just kind of took over and was like, I'm in charge because my dad's in charge. He's like the rich kid of the apocalypse, basically. So hated him. Hated the other guy, who I recognized from something. I just can't remember what it was. I was like, I definitely know that guy. But he got murdered brutally at the end. Like, first off, a bunch of rats come out on you. That's gross. And then zombies grab him and start biting at his chest, and then basically pull him so hard his neck snaps. And I was like, wow, super freaking intense. He gets killed like that. Dude gets his eye popped out. Travis is in like the gladiator zombie pit, bashing heads in and stuff. And it was just crazy. There was just a lot of violence in this episode. Before everything kind of hits the fan, we have innocent people just being taken, into these showers, and they're just testing them. And it's just insane. It's like, wow, this is absolutely nuts. They're just taking people who are injured or old or just guys. Like, for the most part, it was guys. And it was like, they mentioned later on, like, we don't hurt women. And the main reason that Nick was in there is because he was a guy. And, of course, the woman that's with him is already injured. So they're like, we aren't going to, bother helping her out. So it was just crazy, the way that everything was playing out. And, people were getting chained up, and they just shoot them just to test them out. Tested based on race and age and weight and stuff like that. And it was just really crazy. I was like, wow, this is how they spend their time. They did figure some stuff out, but it was all pointless compared to just sacrificing a bunch of people. But the one thing they did find out was kind of, related to the Michonne thing. Is like, well, the dead smell human, so if you smell dead, the dead will leave you alone. So they have like their little, it was almost like a Walker minefield, pretty much, where there are already a bunch of dead bodies. And they talk about how zombies are like, the walker, whatever you want to call them. They'll eat people until the blood goes cold. It's like once you're actually cold, they just move on, because it's like, oh, that's just one of us. And so that's when they take off to another body. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool that they're talking a little bit about the science behind it. But of course, I almost don't care, because I'm like, they're getting these answers by just wiping people out left and right, just to test how long does it take. Like, what does it even matter? So it was just crazy the way that they were doing it. Of course, crappy human beings, and naturally they end up fighting back. And it was very fortunate, because honestly, if it weren't for the fact that it was kind of a two-pronged thing, but really if it weren't for the fact that they had women with them, they would have been screwed because Madison is the only reason that they even went to actually get Travis out of the pit, because the guy was like, okay, I know my brother sucks, but I'll help you out. Like, I will actually help you. Just please let my brother go. And that's the only reason they even got to Travis and why they were able to basically say, like, let Nick go and help her and stuff. So I was like, man, if it weren't for the fact that they had women with them, none of it would have mattered, because the guy that helped them out, he gets killed, and Travis is thrown into the pit. Nick is trapped in the bottom, but they ultimately end up saving his life. Like, he probably would have died in a different way, but he does end up getting out of like the out of the sewers and stuff. So that was a crazy little moment for him, and I like the way they did that too, because it's like, all right, they start to escape. He breaks through basically this giant wall. And it's like, oh crap, bunch of zombies, so we need to run backwards. And as they're getting swarmed, it's like, you have Alicia going to get a car, and she starts hearing her brother, and it's like, oh, well, here's my knife, and she drops the knife so that they can actually fight back against the zombies. So I was like, that's a cool little way to do it. Of course, that's how she ends up being captured while looking for the truck. They end up saving him, from the sewers. However that ended up playing out, I guess they just ended up escaping. And it's like, all right, well, the family's officially back together. And then things get super crazy because, of course, the zombies are in the sewer, and now they start pouring out, basically, and everybody has to take off, which they were about to leave in like 24 hours anyway, which I thought was interesting. They didn't really explain why they were there for a limited amount of time, and I guess it was just supposed to be, we come here and we get materials, then we leave, but they seem to have been there for quite some time, because they even mentioned, like, we're supposed to be gone within 24 hours, and that's why they start killing 2 people at a time. So it was very interesting. I was like, I feel like they never really answered that question, like, why was there a time limit for, how long they really needed to stay. But in the end, everybody has to leave anyway. We have Travis and Alicia get on the helicopter with, I suck at names, so I don't remember like any of the new characters just yet. But they get on the helicopter, everybody else is in the truck, and so that's when they split up, and it's like, all right, they're headed to, basically the new frontier, headed to this new camp, and we'll see what happens there. And then we get the start of the second episode, and they're going through, and the helicopter starts taking bullets from random people who I'm sure we will see later in the season. Those will be, our new villains, going up against this camp. They're going to do kind of like what they're doing with The Walking Dead, like a camp versus camp sort of thing. But helicopters getting shot at for no really good reason. It's just getting shot at. And then a bullet ricochets and hits Travis in the neck. And I was like, holy crap. Like, they're not about to kill Travis. And then I was thinking, I was like, he's letting it go, like, as Alicia was saying, I was like, you're in shock, because he lets go and he's just like, help me, and he's trying to fall out. And I was like, what is he doing? Like, I know he was hitting the neck, but I'm like, he can put, pressure, like, just put some pressure on that, and you're good to go. And I'm thinking, like, he is in shock, like, he just instantly thought he was about to die, like, I don't want to infect you guys, and he's instantly trying to kill himself, and I'm like, he has a lot of time. And then they show that he's wounded, and that I couldn't tell because it was so dark. It looked like he basically was missing a big chunk of his stomach, and I'm like, I can't tell if that was because he was bit or what the case. I would assume that that's what it had to have been when they show his stomach, but I was like, it looked like it was a hole in his shirt. That's what really confused me. I was like, it looks like we're looking through a hole inside of his shirt, and I'm like, we wouldn't have possibly missed that. So it had to have happened when he was in like the pit, but it just seemed weird, like, because I was confused. I was like, I'm definitely not seeing the skin of his stomach, but it looks like we're looking through his shirt. So it kind of confused me, but I'm assuming based off of what I saw, because I rewound it and I was like, I still can't figure out how that makes sense, but I might have to look at it again just to see. But it looked like he had a giant hole in his stomach, like he was bit, and that was it. And I was like, wow, they're actually killing him, because I was like, oh, if he holds pressure on it, Alicia gets to him, he's fine. And then it's like, no, this was going to make things faster, and check out the actual wound that really is going to take me out. So I gotta go. And Travis drops out of a freaking helicopter, and it was insane to me, because I was like, I know it was last year, but we just ended, season 2, or I guess it was the beginning of this one. Well, no, that was last year, because it's currently the beginning of this year. Forgot we're not in the fall. But it was just crazy. I was like, wow, we ended with his son being killed in the last season, which, because he was becoming a douchebag, I didn't really care as much. But still, he was a main character, and he got killed off in a really crazy way that actually made me care that he died, even though I hated him. The way he died, it was just like so effed up, where they just were like, you're wounded, and they blew his brains out. It was like, okay, that still matters. It's a main character. And then we started this season, technically the second episode of the season, And it was just crazy. I was like, I cannot believe that this is how this just played out, and he's gone. Like, we lose Travis, and that really sucks because I like Travis. Like, I was starting to like him more and more as the seasons went on, and he changed because, of course, Madison was the one who was like kind of gung ho, like, we kill these people and do what we need to do, and he was the one who was against that. And it was interesting watching that dynamic in the first season, and then in the second season, that's when it shifted, where it was like, no, we're together, we kill who we gotta kill. And I like that idea because he hated that, but he did what he needed to do, and that's why I like that progression, because he was the one who changed, and Madison was already there, and he was kind of catching up to her. So I like that story where she's already at the point, and he's catching up to her, and then he dies, and I was like, that sucks, because we only got one season of him catching up. And then I thought it was like, okay, they're on equal ground now, and they both will, most likely make similar decisions as time, moves on. So it was just very interesting with the way that happened, where he, kind of catches up, especially at the end of the last season, where he loses it when these two guys kill his son, and we don't get to see that continue on. So that really, it sucked for a couple of reasons, because I really love the character, honestly. I think he's my second favorite. I think Nick is still my favorite just because, maybe it's because he's the one who's always adding new levels into the story, because he was the one who was on drugs, and it was just really crazy, and he's the drug addict, and then it was just like, every time he leaves them, he finds some whole new storyline. Like, he was half the storyline in the last season, so it was like, well, I kind of like getting new stuff, and he's a huge component to us having, like, all new storylines, so that's probably why he's still, like, my favorite. But Travis was definitely my second favorite, and he was probably getting up there, and it was just like, man, that really sucks. So we lost a great character, and it's really crazy that they did it this way with the opening of the season. They're just killing people. Apparently, it's like Walking Dead, we just wiped 2 out. I mean, that was, like, I knew that was coming. But this was just like, yeah, let's do that again. Let's just kill somebody off. So, in the last season killing somebody, start this season killing somebody. And it's just like, wow, that sucks to see that character go. But, loss of a great character, but I am excited for where we're headed. We, of course, have, the characters in the camp. It was kind of, after, like, the beginning, and then we have, like, our little story where they're trying to survive after the helicopter crash. Outside of that, it was kind of simple. We have Madison and Nick. They're just at the gate kind of waiting, and I wouldn't hate it if Nick killed that dude at the end of the episode, because he's like, I knew he was going to point the gun at him. He was like, I'll do it, I'll kill her and stuff, because you guys won't take her in. And as soon as he pointed the gun, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I thought he was just going to straight up pull the trigger, which I'm assuming they would have just lit him up if that were the case, but things somewhat work out at least. So lose a character, I'm sure she'll be fine. I honestly can't think of her name right now, but she's sick, but I'm sure she'll ultimately be okay. But it was definitely a good second episode as well. The first one was just super intense, and then the second one started off super intense, and then it's just like, yeah, just deal with that. Like, we'll calm everything down, so all you have to think about is that one intense moment in the very beginning of the episode where you lose a main character. And fortunately, our other main characters end up living through this, because Alicia survives with the more sensible brother. Sadly, he loses his god sister, so that sucks for him. But they end up working together, because he drops his gun, or it looked like it was jammed, because it looked like he was actually pulling it to load it, and it wasn't loading or something. So fortunately, Alicia didn't listen to him as far as, like, staying behind. So she ends up saving his life as he, like, flashes the zombie she aims and kills him off. So she saved his life. They ultimately are able to make it back. They're able to, save Nick's girlfriend, and everything works out in that regard. But we had a really good scene with Madison after she found out that Travis was gone, especially when the leader of this camp came to visit her, and she was, like, at the tree and stuff, and she was just vomiting because she's so distraught. It's physically making her throw up, like, this loss. Like, and I thought that was just really well done. Like, that's how, how much turmoil she's going through emotionally, is that she's literally just vomiting continuously, and she can't control it. So I like the way that played out. And of course, during that scene, he mentions the gun that she took in the beginning of the episode. And it's like, I figured you might want to sign for it now, because that's just a rule we have. And she does. So it's like their official welcoming into the community, and her true acceptance, because they already had the room with, like, her and Nick. But this is that moment where it's like, all right, I'll follow your rules. We will stick with, you guys until, somebody dies. So we'll see how that plays out. But I thought it was a pretty good premiere. Really sucks to lose a character, but would love to know what you guys thought about these first 2 episodes. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts and least favorite parts. And of course, want to know what you guys thought about losing Travis in this episode. It was just nuts for me, obviously. I mean, we still have other characters out there. I totally skipped over Strand's thing, but it was honestly, not much happened with him either. He talked about the doctor thing, he lied, and then he got kicked out of the hotel, which I was like, oh, that was surprising. I thought he was going to be with them, and we'd still see those characters for a while. I was like, nope, you got to go because you lied. And I was like, oh, well, that was weird to me, but he gets kicked out, so he's gone from there as well. But they do have a cool way to end it where he gets like the super cool car and he takes off. But he's out there. Who the F knows what's going on with Ophelia? I feel like, for those of you who may not have watched it, I did a review for the prologue for this season, the passage thing. I feel like those two characters from that are going to end up with Ophelia. That's my guess. But she's the only person from the main cast we don't end up seeing. We still don't see Salazar. I know that's still kind of up in the air, like what really happened to him when they were on that ranch and it all burned down. Like, did he truly die or did he live? And I thought that he was in there for a second because they show like an old dude next to Nick. And I was like, is that Salazar back there? But it didn't end up being him. So who knows? He might still be out there. But Ophelia is somewhere else. I don't know. I don't think she's at the camp because I feel like they would have done that in this first episode. So she's with someone who's on the other side of the border that was like, welcome to America and stuff. So she's doing something. I feel like the people from the Passage prologue are going to meet her. But we'll love to know where you guys think we're headed. Like I said, of course, I want to know what you guys feel about Travis dying. Do you care? Do you not care? I feel like odds are if you're watching this, by the time it's hit this season, you like the show and you care about the characters. I know a lot of people are like kind of back and forth on the show. I liked it from the beginning. Honestly, I love the unique approach to it, and especially the different settings. I really appreciate that, especially like season 2, they're going to islands and stuff for like, they're on like a cruise, like we'll stop here for an episode and then go somewhere else. So I appreciate the series for how they do the unique take on The Walking Dead, and it's a lot more technological because it's still fairly early on. So I kind of like how they're doing the show. But, like I said, he was making his way up there to be my favorite character, and then they killed him off. So, really sucks to see him go. But, like I said, we'd love to know how you guys felt about it. And just, what you guys want to see from this season, your theories for this season as well. And, of course, what you guys thought about this premiere. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.